A netizen shared this video clip. The man in the video shared about how the Chinese government has been tightening its control over ordinary Chinese people's assets.
我们从今年的7月1号开始，我们在河北、深圳、浙江3个地方要试点开展大额现金管理制度。就你超过10万、20万，是不是啊？大额现金的使用和存取，不但要登记你的用途，还要记录你的来源。各位老总，你说用途你还讲得清楚，来源你讲得清楚吗？各位，这在管啥呢？管现金吗？2025年之前要消灭大额纸币。你们现在出门还带钱吗？如果我们把现金消灭了，这还有没有机会偷税？所以你看，这个是釜底抽薪的一招啊。
A netizen commented, perhaps after this move, the Chinese government will seek to take over control of people's assets. A netizen shared a quote from an online commentator named Lu Jianrong from Jiangsu. He said that basically all kinds of titles in China can be bought with money. This has become so common that it is already the norm. A netizen replied, in China, the Communist Party of China is the capitalist, and it has been claiming that China follows state capitalism as the economic development model. A netizen replied, this is indeed true. I know of someone who spent 150,000 yuan to buy a fake undergraduate degree. A netizen shared this picture, showing that the Chinese government forced members of the religious community to celebrate the Chinese New Year, except that not by following traditional Chinese rituals, but to follow the party's instructions. A netizen shared that on February 9th, the Chinese Communist Party's National Religious Affairs Administration released regulations on religious clergy. Among the regulations, the importance for religious personnel not to be influenced by so-called overseas forces or be involved with activities that, quote, jeopardize ethnic unity or national security were particularly stressed. The regulations include a total of 52 articles in 7 different chapters. They will be put into force on May 1st. According to the news release, religious personnel cannot do the following: undermine national security and public safety, promote, support, or fund religious extremism, split the country, engage in terrorist activities, be manipulated by overseas forces or accept designation from overseas religious groups or institutes, or violate principles on independence from outside, and in addition, the regulations also stipulated that the succession of a living Buddha should be carried out under the Chinese government's relevant regulations. A netizen shared this picture to condemn the negative impact of the gender-neutral restrooms. A netizen shared an article in this picture. It was said that this woman took part in a contest along with a transgender woman. As a result of power imbalance, she was heavily wounded. The article mentioned that some people felt that this is the realization of social justice, and it also marks societal progress. But there are also some people who felt that justice and fairness will no longer exist in female athletic competitions. A netizen replied, and by the time that happens, it would also imply that the Western civilization has been destroyed by the ideology of progressivism. A netizen shared this infamous video clip from Biden's first presidential town hall on CNN. In response to a question regarding Xinjiang, he responded in a quite bizarre way, seemingly following the Chinese government's talking points.
You know, Chinese leaders, if you know anything about Chinese history, it has always been the time when China has been victimized by the outer world is when they haven't been unified at home. So vastly overstated, the central principle of Xi Jinping is that there must be a united, tightly controlled China. And he uses his rationale for the things he does based on that. I point out to him, no American president can be sustained as a president if he doesn't reflect the values of the United States. And so the idea, I'm not going to speak out against what he's doing in Hong Kong, what he's doing with the Uyghurs in western mountains of China, and Taiwan trying to end the one China policy by making it forceful. I said, and by the way, he said he gets it. Culturally, there are different norms at each country, and their leaders are expected to follow.
A netizen replied, it appears the investment that the Chinese Communist Party has made on the Biden family did not end up in vain. and indeed has been proven to be quite effective. Now that Biden is already helping Xi Jinping to whitewash what's been happening and is still happening in Xinjiang, he also sought to help the Communist Party legitimize the crimes against humanity that have been committed in the region. And he also made clear that he will not try to intervene. A netizen also noted, Biden made it clear that he will not criticize the issues regarding Xinjiang, Hong Kong, and Taiwan, even though this is in opposition to the US foreign policy, but this is indeed what he meant, and it does well convey his intent. A netizen replied, back during the election time, many people that I know have mentioned that a Biden administration will act even tougher against the CCP than the Trump administration. Back then I thought that Biden may not reveal his true color until at least some time later, but it's quite clear now that he has made his stance clear. Perhaps what's even more ironic is that many so-called mainstream media are helping Biden to explain that what he said does not represent his real intent, especially in regards to his stance on human rights in China. A netizen shared this video clip.
He just loved children. He was not a child molester, and I am certain of that. He loved children. He'd play with my son Eric and my son Donald, and he'd just play with them forever. He loved children, but he was not a child molester. And
Lisa Marie says she never saw any inappropriate behavior. If I'd seen anything, believe me, his ass would have been hanging from a tree. So, I don't know. I never saw anything like that. Now, I don't know what's happening lately with him. I really don't. The person that was my close friend, that was like a brother to me, he was not that guy. He was a guy who was so innocent, so kind of sheltered, you couldn't even swear around him. Certainly when I made the documentary, there was a small part of that which contained a controversy concerning his relationship with other young people. But the truth is that he was never convicted of any crime. I never saw any wrongdoing myself. And whilst his lifestyle may have been a bit unorthodox, I don't believe it was criminal. Let me tell you now, if I had one iota, one shred of doubt, I would not be, I have children of my own, I would not be sitting here defending a man I thought was guilty. This is an injustice, this is an outrage, this is an insult to legitimate victims. The relationship that was between the kids and Michael Jackson was genuine. You know, he obviously adored children. It wasn't sexually, it was more of a heartfelt admiration that he maybe was jealous of their childhood. As an abuse survivor myself, if I for 1 second thought that my uncle, I spent probably thousands of hours with my uncle, Michael, since I was a baby all the way up to when he passed.
Child, we will take you in. Child, we will bring you home. You'll be a flower that sees the spring.